Adipurusham Tamaham Vajami Angani Asa Sakalem Priya Priti Manti Vasyanti Panti Kayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Vajami 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 For the pleasure of the Lordship, Shri Radha Ballabha, Shri Gaur Nitai, Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, Shri Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. Sankirtan score report for Tuesday, 19th of April. Books distributed: Nitin Prabhu, 2 Mahabig for 4 book points. Krishna, 7 small, 1 medium, 1 Mahabig for 4.25 book points. Hemant Prabhu, 2 medium, 4 Mahabig for 9 book points. Nanda Gopal Prabhu, 16 Mahabig for 32 book points. Mahalakshmi Mataji, 11 small, 6 medium, 9 big, 5 Mahabig, 1 Bhagavatam set for 96.75 book points. And Karthik Prabhu, 4 small, 5 big, 46 Mahabig for 98 book points. That's a daily total of 22 small, 9 medium, 14 big, 74 Mahabig and 1 Bhagavatam set for 244 book points. Preaching score: Radhe Chaibar, 110 guests for 1,328 Lakshmi points. Crossways, 258 guests for 2,192 Lakshmi points. And Gopal's 244 guests for 2,930 Lakshmi points. Lakshmi liberated: Nitin Prabhu 30, Krishna 32, Hemant Bosame 46, Nanda Gopal Prabhu 176, Mahalakshmi Mataji 500, Karthik Prabhu 661, and member services 3,344. That gives the daily total of 4,789 Lakshmi points and the weekly total of 8,319 Lakshmi points. संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। हनुमान को
Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma. Bandho mui savadhana mate. Mate Jahara prasade bhai e bhavatori ajay. E bhavatoriya Krishna prapti hoy jaha hoite. Krishna prapti hoy jaha hoite. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chithate Koriya Aikya. Arna kori ho mane asha. Arna kori ho mane asha. Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Yuttama Gati. Uttama Gati Je prasade pure sarva asha. Je prasade प्रसादे पूरे सर्व आशा। चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से। चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से। दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो। दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो। प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाशायाते। प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाशायाते। सायाते वेद गाय जहाँ रचरितो। वेद गाय जहाँ रचरितो। श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम गणर बंधु। श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनर बंधु। लोकनाथ लोकेरा जीवाना। लोकनाथ लोकेरा जीवाना। हा प्रभु करो दया देहो मोरे पद छाया। हा प्रभु करो दया देहो मोरे पद छाया। हे बेजाश गुशुक त्रिभुवना। हे बेजाश गुशुक त्रिभुवना। हा प्रभु करो दया देहो मोरे पद छाया। 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 हे बेजाश गुशुक त्रिभुवना। श्रील प्रभुपाद पतित पावना। श्रील प्रभुपाद लोइलो शरण। जयो प्रभुपदा 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 श्रील प्रभुपदा। प्रभुपदा श्रील प्रभुपदा। जयो जयो प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद। जयो जयो प्रभुपाद जयो जयो प्रभुपाद 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 जयो जयो प्रभुपाद श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। नमस्ते निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। जयो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। जयो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। जयो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hey, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Jayo Radha, Vallabh Shri Radhe. Jayo Radha, Vallabh Shri Radhe. Jayo Jagannatha, Baladeva, Jayo Subhadra. Jayo Gauranitai, Jayo Gauranitai. Jayo Gauranitai, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Ashtottar Shata Shri Śrīmad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. ISKCON BBT संस्थापक आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। मायापुर धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। जमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। समवेद भक्त वृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shishi Guru and Gauranga. All glories to His divine grace. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
I should have. Very good. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja
Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradari He Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodananda Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandan Vraja Janaranjana Yashodananda Vraja Janaranjana Jamuna Tiravanachari Jamuna Tiravanachari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Jamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhans Prabhupada Śrīmad Aisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai Shri Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Brajbani Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Navdip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Granthra Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Ki Jai Gaur Premanandi all goes to the assembled devotees, all goes to the assembled devotees, all goes to the assembled, all goes to Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshurulmiltam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swayam Padantikam Vandeham Sri Gurum Sri Yudapadakam Lam Sri Gurum Svaishnavam Scha Sri Rupam Sahagrajatam Sahagna Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadbhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagna
ललिता श्रीविशाखाम्बितं तं सजीवं वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुएव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदम्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनामिने गौरतुसे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुण सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कंचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते तमाल कृष्ण गोस्वामीति नामने। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामीति नामने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। हरे कृष्णा। So we are speaking on Canto 6, Chapter 5, Verse 43, Narad Muni cursed by Prajapati Daksha. So let's begin on my phone then. Okay. Tantu krintana yanna satuham Tantu krintana yanna satuham Abhadram achara punaha Abdhadaram achara punaha Tasmallokeshu te mudha Tasmallokeshu te mudha Nabhavad brahmata padam Nabhavid brahmanata pradam Tantu krintanayanastatoham Abhadraramachara punah Tasmallokeshu te mudha Nabhavad brahmata padam Tantu kritanayasnastoham Abhadraramachara punaha Tasmallokeshu te mudha Nabhavad brahmata padam Tantu krintanyasnatam Adharam stapanam Tasmat lokeshu se mudha Tantu kritanyanayastaham Adhadaramachara punaha Tasmalokeshu te mudha Nabhavati brahmaparam. Tantu se kritanaya snatoham Tasmalokeshu se mudha Na bhavate brahmana padam. Tantu Kritanya Yasnastaham Addhadaramachana Puraha Tasmat Lokeshu Te Mudha Nabhavate Brahmata Padam Tantu Kritanaha. O mischievous Moga, who have mercilessly separated my sons from me, yet which na unto us, Tvam, you, Abhadram, an inauspicious thing, Acharya, have done, Puna, again, Tasmat, therefore, Lokeshu, in all the planetary system within the universe, Te, of you, Mudha, O rascal, not knowing how to act, Na, not, Bhavat, there may be, Brahmanta, who are wandering, Padam, and abode. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. You have made me lose my sons once, and now you have again done the same inauspicious thing. Therefore you are a rascal who does not know how to behave towards others. You may travel all over the universe, but I curse you to have no residence anywhere. So repeat after me, please. You have made me lose my sons once, and now you have again done the same inauspicious thing. Therefore you are a rascal who does not know how to behave towards others. You may travel all over the universe, but I curse you to have no residence anywhere. Peppered by Srila Prabhupada. Because Prajapati Daksha was a Gramedi who wanted to remain in householder life, he thought that if Narad Muni could not remain in one place but had to travel all over the world, that would be a great punishment for him. Actually, however, such a punishment is a boon for a preacher. A preacher is known as a Prabhupada, an acharya or a teacher who always troubles for the benefit of human society. Prajapati Daksha cursed Narad Muni by saying that although he had the facility to travel all over the universe, he would never be able to stay in one place. In the parampara system from Narad Muni, I have also been cursed. Srila Prabhupada. Although I have many centers that would be suitable place for residence, I cannot stay anywhere, for I have been cursed by the parents of my young disciples. Since the Krishna conscious movement was started, I have traveled all over the world 2 or 3 times a year, and although I am provided comfortable places to stay wherever I go, I cannot stay anywhere for more than 3 days or a week. I do not mind this curse by the parents of my disciples, but now it is necessary that I stay in one place to finish another book, this translation of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. If my young disciples, especially those who have taken sannyas, take charge of traveling all over the world, it might be possible for me to transfer the curse of my parents to those young preachers. Then I might sit down convently in one place for the work of translation. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, you have been listening for a while. We are towards the end of the chapter, how Narad Muni was cursed by Daksha. Srila Prabhupada calls him a Gramedi. Who is a Gramedi? Who is interested in sense gratification. So a householder who is interested in sense gratification and doesn't want to do anything about self-realization or to know about Krishna is called a Gramedi. And who is the other part of the Gramedi of a householder life? Grasta. And what does a Grasta do? He does the same thing, but Krishna is the center. He wants to find more about Krishna. He tries to actually be in Krishna consciousness and tries to get out of this material world. So these are the two different kinds of people. Now, from what Daksha had said all along, he's basically saying that, his point is basically saying that we have to experience it, right, to actually understand it. Now, how many lifetimes have you been here? How many lifetimes have we been through the same thing again? How many lifetimes we have experienced everything? Have we learnt our lesson? Prabhupada gives Narad gives a very nice example, or Prabhupada gives a very nice example of a woman. She gets pregnant and she gives birth. And they say birth is just like death, because the pain, the suffering you go through at the time of delivery is just like that. Does the woman learn a lesson and does not get pregnant again? She gets pregnant again, right? So this material nature is like this. It is very powerful, it's very tricky, right? Unless you have the mercy of a devotee, unless you take shelter of a pure devotee, unless you accept a spiritual master who can guide us in this ocean of this material world, unless you have a captain who can, guide you and take you, there is no hope for us. And we have to take shelter of spiritual master. Spiritual master like Narad Muni, right? Brahma got the initial instruction from Krishna. Narad Muni got it from him. Ved Vyas got him. So we have to get this knowledge in parampara. We can't just go to any person and say that, okay, no, it has to come through disciplic succession. This is very important. So, there are 8.4 million different species of life. So think of it this way, there are 8.4 million dresses, right? And you are one of the persons there, and you are playing a role of a drama, right? And to act or to understand different roles, you wear different clothes. And that's what we are doing, Sometimes we wear a cloth of a dog, sometimes we wear a cloth of a cat, sometimes we wear a cloth of a tree, right? But in all those forms, we do not have the ability to understand the purpose of life. And what is the purpose of life? To get out of this material world and go back home, back to Godhead. Only in human form we can understand this, right? As I was reading through this chapter, one of the amazing things that struck me, we say that a moment of association with the pure devotee is enough to take us out of this material world. Daksha had association of Brahma as well as Narad Muni, and yet he cursed him. So what do we learn from this? Right? Prabhupada was here, Spiritual masters come here, pure devotees come here, How many of us take advantage of it? Isn't it amazing? No? So if we have enmity, if you are envious against a pure devotee, Krishna does not allow this. Just because he was envious of the position, he was thinking he was better than Narad Muni. He tells Narad Muni, you travel all over the world, you even go to the spiritual world, and you think you are better than me. So what was he thinking, that he is better than Narad Muni. He's staying at home, producing children, and he's better than Narad Muni. Our system, 4 ashrams are brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. What of the 3 of them, right? What is brahmachari? This is the most important in my understanding, is being a brahmachari. Because this is where you understand what is self-realization. What is the purpose of life? Purpose of life is renunciation, performing austerity. Basically, brahmachari life is performing austerity, so that we can understand. If you can understand that the purpose of life is to go back to Godhead, then you won't try to entangle in yourself into this material world. And when it happens actually, when you entangle in yourself, is mostly when you enter into grastha life, married life. Married life, what it means? What does married life means? Sex, that's what it is. Once Prabhupada was traveling in America, and there were a lot of buildings and everything, and Prabhupada said, "What is this?" And somebody was saying something. The others, "What is that?" Somebody else was saying that one. Prabhupada said, "It's all sex, All these people are trying to build this building, get money, create a better environment so they can enjoy sex." That's what it is. That's what grastha life is. Now, if you can understand this at a brahmachari, then you can bypass that, and then you can dedicate your whole life to Krishna consciousness, just like Narad Muni did, This does not mean that anybody who is in the grastha life is not, it's like it's more difficult, but it's not impossible, right? But you have to be a grastha, not a gramedi. So that is the difference, You have to understand that the purpose of life is to be Krishna consciousness. The purpose of life is to get out of this material world. And here is the comparison between a figurative work, and devotional service. Narad Muni is preaching devotional service, while Daksha is trying to take the side of material enjoyment. And he curses Narad Muni. Now, Narad Muni had enough strength or ability to counteract that curse, but he does not, right? Because that's what they are supposed to do. Don't stay in one place, Keep traveling, keep preaching, This is our duty, And Prabhupada in the end says, I hope that others can do that. It's not only for the sannyasis, this is for us. We have to read Prabhupada's book, we have to understand Prabhupada's book so that we can preach. We can pass this message all over the world. Devotional service is the only way to get out of this material world. You can do as much sense gratification as you want, that's not going to help you. You can be a jnani, you can have all the knowledge in the world, that's not going to get you out of the world, You can sit down and meditate and have all the mystic powers. You can travel over the universe and everything. That's not going to get out of you. The only thing that can get you out of this is devotional service. Devotional service does not need the other three. The other three need devotional service to make progress. Without devotional service, they have no value. Without Krishna in our life, if there's anything we do, if we don't have Krishna in their life, it's useless. You can build 100-story building, you can have the biggest building, the most beautiful, but if you don't use it in Krishna's service, it's useless. So we are very, very fortunate, to be in this movement, So we should take advantage of this. We can't let this go away, Make this life special, make this life so that we can actually use in Krishna consciousness, And keep what Prabhupada has given. Srila Prabhupada has given us so much knowledge, we don't need to go anywhere else, If you read Bhagavad Gita, if you read Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, the purports, that's all you need, Everything is very clear, Let me tell you, we're not taking anything with us, When I was sick, I was in the hospital, and I couldn't breathe, without oxygen during the COVID time, And I thought this was it, and I was thinking, all my life I've worked so hard, nothing gonna go with you, One moment you're gone. The house, the children, the family, the bank balance, nothing gonna go with you. Everything finishes. In the end, you are on your own. And I can guarantee you, this moment is very powerful. If you follow Prabhupada's path, if you stay in this movement, it's enough to take you back to Godhead. You don't have to take many lifetimes. So, this is our great opportunity. We have to follow devotees like Narad Muni. We have to follow devotees in the parampara system of Narad Muni. Of Brahma Sampradaya. We are very fortunate that it comes right from there. And then we don't have to come back again. This will be your last life. But it's up to us. Devotional service is so powerful. It's said in many places. Even though one is well versed in all the Vedas and scriptures, if one is not a devotee of the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, he is considered to be a lowest of mankind. So even if you know all the scriptures, you read everything, but if you do not understand who Krishna is, what is the purpose of life, if you are not a devotee of him, then you are lowest of mankind. So knowledge is not everything. Being a devotee is more important. In Garud Puran, Brihad Narada Puran and Padam Puran, the same is repeated. What is the use of Vedic knowledge and penance for one who is devoid of devotional service to the Lord? Right? So again and again this point is emphasized. Right? What Narad Muni has said is the right thing. What Daksha has said is the wrong thing. What is the comparison of thousands of Prajapatis to one devotee of the Lord? One devotee of the Lord and thousands of Prajapatis, Because all they do is, they want to actually, say, whatever you desire, Krishna fulfills it, So if you desire to actually enjoy material life, if you want to have millions of sons, then you get a position like Prajapati, Then you can actually do that, If you want to enjoy heavenly planets, you do that, Krishna makes arrangement. That's why we have got this 8.4 million different types of bodies, to go from one to another one. It is basically making or enjoying to a different level in different type of situation, in different type of body, If you want to eat meat, for example, then you get a body of a tiger, or a lion or something, or dog, or like that. So that's why, just like when we sleep, then we forget everything. You even forget who you are, What death is? Sleeping for a longer period of time. And then you forget everything about this body. So when you get a new body, you start fresh. But before you take that body, you are put in, at the time of death, according to your consciousness, whatever you want, whatever you desire, your mind creates a body. But to actually be in that body, to enjoy that body, you have to go somewhere and get trained. So if you want to enjoy raw meat and things like that, then you need a body of a tiger, for example. Then you have to go to another planet where they feed you meat like that. And in the beginning you might not like it, but it comes to a point where you get used to it. Once you get accustomed to it, you like it, then you are given a body. Like that. So similarly, this is how it happens. So if at the time of death you are thinking about Krishna, right? You are thinking about getting out of this material world, you are thinking about how to serve the Lord, right? Then you get a similar body like that. I was reading somewhere, I think, or listening to something, and Srila Prabhupada said, when we have the Rath Yatra of Lord Jagannath, he said, anyone who sees Lord Jagannath on the cart gets liberated. Have you heard of this? And then somebody asked, Prabhupada, how is this? Somebody has committed so many sins in their life, and they've seen Jagannath once. How does this happen? Do you know? Prabhupada said, at the time of death, everything you have done in your life just goes through like a movie, So everything you have done goes through like a movie. And then when it comes to you seeing Lord Jagannath, it stops there. And then you have his darshan, and then you leave your body like that. And then thinking of him, and you go back to Godhead like that. So, Prabhupada, being so merciful, he has brought Lord Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra all over the world, We have been doing so many chariots, Rath Yatra for the Lord, and so many people are seeing him, As long as they're not envious, they see the Lord, they dance, you see on the Rath Yatra, so many people are dancing, even though they're imitating us, Bhaktipurna Maharaj was saying, he said, at that point, when they're dancing, they're looking at the Lord, all their sins is destroyed. Only thing, next minute they go back to their usual life and started creating more, This is the power of what Prabhupada has given us, All we do is take it ourselves and then give it to others. This is the important bit, So that we can actually help Srila Prabhupada in preaching this movement. Sukadeva Goswami said that neither the ascetic nor the one who is greatly munificent, nor one who is famous, nor the great philosophers, nor the great occultist, nor anyone else can achieve the desired results without being engaged in the service of the Lord. So this is the most important thing, service of the Lord. Serving the Lord with love and devotion, following the path of Narad Muni, path of Srila Prabhupada. Even if a place is more glorious than heaven, if there is no glorification of Lord of Vaikuntha or his pure devotee, it should be at once quitted. So you should make your home glorious. And how do you make your place? How can you make your home a place where you should live? What is the qualification for it? To glorify Krishna and his devotees. Otherwise, doesn't matter how beautiful a home you have, it's worthless. All it's gonna do is make you more materialistic. You want to enjoy it, The pure devotee refuses to accept all five types of liberation in order to be engaged in the service of the Lord. So this is very important, this is very high, That our only goal should be to please Krishna. Once when Prabhupada was here, he was asking everybody to distribute books, So there are two groups of people. One are the pujaris and the other are the book distributors, And the book distributors were saying, we are pleasing Prabhupada a lot, We are better than the pujaris, So there was a bit of a confusion there, So one devotee said, let's ask Prabhupada, Prabhupada, what service is best, You know what Prabhupada said? Anything that pleases Krishna, So whatever service you do, if it pleases Krishna, I am happy, That's what pleases me. So this is what we have to do, Anything we do. When we say Sankirtan movement doesn't mean then you do Kirtan in the street, Book distribution, deity worship, prasadam distribution, it's all part of the Sankirtan movement, I asked one of my god brothers, Nankishore Prabhu, I said, what does actually preaching mean, Because a lot of time we think that a preacher is one who sits here and speaks, He said preaching is, anybody who is in this movement of Prabhupada, ISKCON, is a preacher. Everyone is a preacher. Either they're distributing prasadam, and he said the best way to preach is to live like a devotee, have that character of a devotee. So that others can see and like you, If you are at work, out doing work, and somebody actually just appreciates you. Once somebody one person said good morning to Srila Prabhupada in the morning walk, and Prabhupada said, see, that person has made advancement in spiritual life. He has wished the devotee good morning, That's how simple it is. So if you actually live a life where you can actually, other people like you, Yesterday I went for a cardiologist test, So as soon as I went there, they asked me to take my clothes off because they have to put all those things in there, Yeah, and as soon as she saw this, I said, oh, you are a Hare Krishna, So I said, yes. I said, have you been there? She said, then we started talking about it, And my whole time while I was testing, even when I was on the treadmill, they were asking me questions, how there are people there who want to know about it, So, and she was telling everybody because, and I didn't have much time. I was there probably 5 minutes, She said, I worship Ganesh. There was some fasting she was doing for Ganesh yesterday, She said, I fasted on Ram Navami, I fasted on for this one and that one, So in the end I said, how many demigods are there? She said, I don't know. I said, there are 33 million of them, and we take service from all of them, Right? But their master is one, There's one God and there are 33 million demigods, So if you worship the God, then you don't have to worry about worshipping all of them, And the other guy said, yeah, he was from Sri Lanka, He said, yes, And then he was saying, Ravana was a very nice person, But he made one mistake in his life, And then Ravana was a Pandit, He was a great Jnani, Even in the end, Lord Ramchandra asked Lakshman to go and take knowledge from him, And what was the knowledge he gave? Anyone knows? He said, if you have to do something that is good, do it straight away. And if you have something to do bad, which is not good, then try to delay it as much as possible. You might change your mind, So if you have to do something that is important, do it straight away. Don't leave it for tomorrow, You might not get an opportunity to do it, But if you are doing something or your mind wants to do something that is not right, try to hold it, You might change your mind, So there are a lot of devotees there there are people who actually are looking for this, We have to go out and preach there. So the final conclusion therefore is that the glories of Lord must be always and everywhere proclaimed. One should hear about His glories, one should chant His glories, and one should always remember His glories, because this is the highest perfectional stage of life. You should hear, you should chant, and you should glorify. And if you read Prabhupada's book, you will have a lot of knowledge, One thing I see that there are a lot of people who come here who are new, but there is no one there to preach for him, I was here not long ago, and because I couldn't cook, so I was just roaming around, and you see a new person and you start talking to them, They've been here once or they've been twice, they have no knowledge, And then you talk to them, you say, go and buy one Bhagavad Gita, And they go, they want the knowledge, Right? People come here, and we have to be available so that we can preach to them, So, what Daksha was saying was figurative work. As far as figurative work is concerned, it's limited to an enjoyable body. So, that's what it basically means. Sense gratification means just come to the body. It can be extended to family members. You further extend it to probably the nation, right, or to your own group, even to all the human beings in the world, or to all the animals or living entities in the world, right? But it is restricted to the body, So if you are doing something for yourself, you might do same thing for your family members, Then we say, let's do it for our own community, just like building a nice school or something, for example, right? But it's more expanded. As far as yoga is concerned, it is limited to acquaintance of mystic power. So people who sit down and meditate, what is their goal? To have mystic powers. right? And when you have these mystic powers, what does it do? You get just lost in that, You start traveling everywhere. Let's go here and there, go and enjoy here. Let's go and see how everything looks from the top, like that. And then before you know, your time is up and everything is finished. As far as empiric philosophy is concerned, it is limited to attainment of transcendental knowledge. So those who are actually tired of this material body, material world, they are suffering and they said, okay, I want to get knowledge. So they want to do nothing with this material world. So there's two parts, the material world and the spiritual world, right? Material knowledge and the spiritual knowledge. So they try to actually get on the spiritual knowledge. As far as transcendental knowledge is concerned, it is limited to attainment of salvation. So once they have this knowledge and they understand that we are this not material body, should not be here. So they ask for mukti, they ask for liberation. And even if they are adapted, there are every chance of discrimination in discharging the particular type of function. So even if you take one of these paths, there's every chance that you're going to fail. How many yogis are successful? As far as materialistic people, they want to enjoy everything. How many people are successful? How many people do become rich? How many people do enjoy? Most of the time, the people who have more are the most in a worse situation because they're always worried about losing it, somebody else taking it, But adoption of transcendental devotional service of the Lord has no limit, nor is there any fear of falling down. So if you have little bit of devotion, if you chant your rounds every day, this is the most important thing. If you chant this Maha Mantra, if you read Prabhupada's book, if you have association of devotees, there is no chance of fall down. As long as you are on this Prabhupada's boat of ISKCON, there is no chance of fall down. If you jump off and try to swim on your own in this ocean of material nature, material world, then good luck, The process automatically reaches the final stage of the grace of the Lord. So, devotional service leads us to Krishna consciousness, leads us to the lotus feet of the Lord, And that's what we want to attain in there. In the preliminary stage of devotional service, there is an apparent requisite for knowledge, but in the higher stage, there is no necessity for such knowledge. The best and guaranteed path of their progress is therefore engagement in bhakti yoga, pure devotional service. So in the beginning, you might need a little bit of knowledge. We are not this body, right? What is the first thing? The problem with us, most of us, is that we haven't understood the first instruction that has been given in Bhagavad Gita. And what is the first instruction? No, that's the conclusion. What's the first instruction? We are not the body, we are the soul. Now just imagine this, if you understand this thing, we are not this body, then everything changes, right? If you are not this body, then everything related to this body is also not right? Then I'm not a man. I'm not a human being. I'm not a Brahman. I'm not a Kshatriya. Isn't that right? I don't have a wife. I don't have children. I don't have money, because all these things are related to the body, right? Isn't that right? If you think about it, everything, all of that thing I've said is because as soon as you leave this body, does your wife and family go with you? Does your bank balance goes with you? Does the human body goes in it? Next life you don't know who you'll be. In what kind of body you will be? Are you still an Indian? Are you still Australian? So all these things are related to the body. And if you understand this basic knowledge that we are not this body, then everything else doesn't really matter. But we need this body. Krishna has given this body. It's a car, it's a vehicle that can help us to go to the lotus feet of the Lord. So you have to understand, you are the driver, the body is the vehicle, and the purpose of the driver is to take you to, the purpose of the vehicle is to use the vehicle to go to a particular place, and that is the lotus feet of Krishna. So what Prajapati was saying, that enjoying material enjoyment, that's not the right way. What Narad Muni is saying is important. You have to become like a swan. What does a swan do? He takes the best out of the worst. He tries to separate milk from water. So we have to understand this. We cannot understand this knowledge. There are people who know the Vedas from back to front to end, but they do not have a proper guidance to teach them. The purpose of the Vedas is to know Krishna, So, we're going to stop here. Any comments or any questions? Hare Krishna.
Why is it more important given to lotus feet? You're telling many times.
Because that's the sweetest place, If you want devotee association, all the devotees stay there, So if you want devotee association, you go to the lotus feet of the Lord, We always talk, the scriptures talks about, they said, why is Vrindavan so glorious? What is the most glorious things about Vrindavan? Braj Raj, Why Braj Raj is so powerful? They said, by accepting rolling in the dust of Braj, you can go back to Godhead. Just like if you're in Jagannath Puri, you take prasadam and you can go back to Godhead. If you are in Mayapur, you do kirtan, you go back to Godhead. In Braj, what do? Roll on the dust. Why? Because the devotees and Krishna perform their dust. What is your opinion on that? Why do you think lotus feet of the Lord? The other thing is that, I don't know about others. I can't see up, When you are low, it's better to be right at the bottom, The higher you go, the harder you fall, they say. If you're at the lotus feet of the Lord, there's no chance of falling down, Gopesh, what do you... Any other comments? Yes? So, the question is that, I said that, Prabhupada said, the best way is to please Krishna. You do your service in a way that pleases Krishna. So how do we know that Krishna is pleased? Am I right? That's the question? So, if your mom cooks something nice, right? You enjoy that, you eat that, right? So how does your mom knows that whatever she cooked was nice? You ask one of the other persons who ate that, right? So, same way, when you do service, other people are doing service, then you can ask other people. And if they tell you, yeah, you are doing okay, right? If my mom tells you to chant, right, and you are chanting nicely, then they will tell you, you are chanting very nicely, right? So, Krishna can tell us directly, but we don't have the ears to listen to him. Understand? So how does Krishna tells us? Through his devotees. So you have to listen to the devotees. So whatever the devotees tell, can you ask them, I'm doing this, am I doing right? And if they say yes. So this is why it is important to accept a spiritual master. Because spiritual master is the representative of Krishna, and he tells us what to do. Right? So the simple way to know what pleases Krishna is listen to what Prabhupada said. So if you read Prabhupada's book and he tells Prabhupada said, don't do these things, don't do this thing and do this thing, right? So he tells us not to do 4 stuff and he tells us to do one thing. Which is that? Chant 16 rounds, So if you chant 16 rounds, that will please Prabhupada. And if Prabhupada is pleased, then Krishna is pleased, right? One devotee asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, you are saying that we should think of Krishna, at the time of death, then you go back to Krishna. He said, what if we think of you, What happens then, And Prabhupada closed his eyes, for a minute or so. I said, that's all right, Why? Because Prabhupada is always with Krishna. So if you go to Prabhupada, you go to Krishna, like that. So this is both the devotees and Krishna, That's why it says that, you should not live in a house or in a place, in a residence, doesn't matter how good it is, if there's no glorification of Krishna and his devotees. Right? Because Krishna is not alone. Krishna is always with his devotees. So, if you go to devotees, you go to Krishna. We are very fortunate that we don't have to look for somebody who is from Braj. He's already here. Srila Prabhupada is already here. We just hang on to Prabhupada, and rest will be taken care of. Take any other comments, any other questions? Take, so we'll finish here. Granthra Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Radha Vallabha ki jai, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Guru and Gauranga Jai. So Saturday we have the 50th anniversary of Radha and Krishna, the small deities. Srila Prabhupada mercifully, brought them here. They've been here for 50 years listening to our prayers and blessing us. So please come, get other people to come. This is a great opportunity to get new people in here, so that we can all benefit. That will please Srila Prabhupada the Lord. Jai. Thank you, Prabhupada.